I'd like to call the... Now I will call the meeting of the Government Operations Committee for Tuesday, February 22nd, 2020. Roll call, please.
Bala.
Here.
Payleitner. Here. Bongard.
Here.
Bancroft.
Here.
Lencioni.
Here.
Petrola.
Here.
Wirball.
Here.
Besner.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Thank you. First thing I'd like to ask that the council, when they speak into the microphone, please. Sometimes it's kind of hard to hear everybody, so I appreciate that. Thank you. The administrative, video gaming, statistics. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, now I have been requested by the mayor and city administrator to remove item A8 from the agenda tonight. Will be scheduled for a further future date. Thank you. We have 3 omnibus items tonight. Motion and a second, please.
Weber will move.
Moved by Weber.
Second.
Second by Bala. Roll call, please.
Weber.
Yes.
Bala.
Yes.
Payleitner.
Yes.
Bongard.
Yes.
Bancroft.
Yes.
Lencioni.
Yes.
Petrola.
Yes.
Wirball.
Yes.
Besner.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 6, Police Department. Recommendation to approve a proposal for C1 liquor license application and 2 a.m. late night permit for Duke's Northwoods located at 70 Main Street, St. Charles. Good evening, Chief.
Mr. Chairman, before we start, please let the record reflect that I'll be recusing myself for statutory reasons for the discussion of this item.
Thank you.
Good evening. This item appeared earlier this evening at the Liquor Control Commission and advanced without much discussion. With me is Steve Mayer, my right, your left. He is the owner and operator of the aforementioned liquor request. This is the Old Butt Man, which is directly across the street from City Hall, next to Graceful Ordinary. This building is owned by Frontier Development, which has done a bunch of work lately with the city of St. Charles. It's got a Wisconsin theme. It'll be both a bar and restaurant. The ownership group is similar to Flagship on the Fox. Once again, Steve Mayer is here. He's the keynote operator of Flagship. This is a C1 tavern license. They will have a full-service kitchen. Mr. Mayer is asking for a 2 a.m. late-night permit, and there's going to be indoor and outdoor seating. The outdoor seating will be to the south of the building for approximately 130 patrons when you combine both of their seating capacities. Mr. Mayer or myself are here to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just, Chief, I so appreciate them coming in with plenty of time, that it doesn't have to be rushed through. That's very much appreciated to the applicant.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, can I have a motion and a second, please?
So move.
Moved by Wirball,
Second.
second by Bongard. Roll call, please.
Weber.
Yes.
Bala.
Yes.
Payleitner.
Yes.
Bongard.
Yes.
Bancroft.
Yes.
Petrola.
Yes.
Wirball.
Yes.
Besner.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. 6B, recommendation to approve an ordinance amending Title V Business License and Regulations, Chapter 5.20, Massage Establishment, Section 5.20.150, Massage Business Commissioner, Massage Business Commission, suspension, revocation of license, fines, costs of the City of St. Charles Municipal Code. Jeez.
That's a mouthful, Mr. Squires. So that too, this also appeared earlier this evening and advanced forward without really much discussion. This is really just a housekeeping item. Mr. Peppers, legal counsel, modified some of the language. He saw some redundant language. So it was really just a text cleanup. Mr. Peppers or myself can answer any questions you might have.
Questions or comments?
Move for approval.
Moved by Payleitner.
Second.
Second by Lencioni. Roll call, please.
Weber.
Yes.
Bala.
Yes.
Payleitner.
Yes.
Bongard.
Yes.
Bancroft.
Yes.
Lencioni.
Yes.
Petrola.
Yes.
Wirball.
Yes.
Besner.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item 8 has been removed to a future date. Now we go to item 8B, recommendation to approve an ordinance amending Title II Administration and Personnel, Chapter 2.04 City Council, Section 2.04.0140, Order of Business at Meetings of the St. Charles Municipal Code.
Thank you, Chairman. That title was probably longer than this agenda item will really involve, but this is really just to delineate specifically public comment on our agendas moving forward. This is really a cleanup item, a best management practice to ensure that we have a designated item for public comment on our agendas that is set by code, so we just want to amend that accordingly.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
Weber will move.
Moved by Weber,
Second.
second by Warbaugh. Roll call, please.
Weber,
Yes.
Bala,
Yes.
Payleitner,
Yes.
Bongard,
Yes.
Bancroft,
Yes.
Lencioni,
Yes.
Petrola,
Yes.
Wirball,
Yes.
Besner.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Now we have item 8C, recommendation to approve ordinance amending Title I General Provisions, Section 1.28.010, Title II, Administration and Personnel, Chapter 2.02, Mayor, Section 2.02.050, Mayor Pro Tem, Chapter 2.04, City Council, Sections 2.04.030, Special Meetings, 2.04040, Alderman Salary, 2.04060, Mayor as Presiding Officer, Deciding Vote, and 2.04.145, Omnibus Vote of the City of St. Charles Municipal Code.
Thank you, Chairman. And normally I would not read the executive summary you have before you, but I think in this particular instance, it's important to note the information that is contained for the record. So if everybody will bear with me for 1 minute while I read that. The city recognizes that gender-neutral language is a generic term covering the use of non-sexist language, inclusive language, or gender-fair language, that the purpose of gender-neutral language is to avoid word choices which may be interpreted as biased, discriminatory, or demeaning by implying that one sex or social gender is the norm. Using gender-neutral language also helps reduce gender stereotyping, promotes social change, and contributes to achieving gender equality. Gender-neutral language is more than a matter of political correctness, but a language that powerfully reflects and influences attitudes, behaviors, and perceptions. As you may or may not be aware, last year, the state statutes were amended according to a public act that was passed and signed by the governor to modify all of the statutes to refer to any of the alderman language and change it to alderperson. We are recommending that we follow suit in the city of St. Charles and modify our ordinances accordingly to reflect that inclusivity.
Thank you. Any comments or concerns? Yes. Alderperson Petrola.
I mean, it makes sense. I understand. Is it possible? Can we go a little bit even further? I've noticed, interchangeably we say council member from time to time. Should we codify that as well, or is that just keep it vernacular?
We will work to make all those reference changes. There are a lot of he references as well in our code. It's going to take some time to work through all those. I think this is a really good place to start since the state made the same similar language change, but it's just going to take some time to work through those. But we do intend to do exactly that and make sure to go towards that inclusive language and make those modifications as we come across them.
Do we need to include that in a motion, that actual phrase, or are we just going to do it?
We'll present it as we come across those and kind of cohesively get those together, just because as you start taking apart one, it's trickling down. We're finding additional ones. So I'd rather make sure it's cleaned up appropriately and officially.
Alderperson Lencioni.
First of all, to see all of this come up on the agenda, I want to say that I was really happy to see it. Not just like I appreciate the gender neutral, because I thought it was hilarious when Laura was elected. I was like, hey, our code still thinks you're a man. But just in taking a look at all of the things that could be cleaned up and things that we are and are not talking today, I appreciate that you're diving into the code to see where we can make improvements, because I think that there are plenty of things that will add to decorum and order. And so thank you very much for taking a look at the little things, and I support that very much.
And I think just really quickly to that point, I know diversity, equity, and inclusion is a very important point that the mayor wants to focus on in the coming year. So I know she supports this as well. I know she's not sitting up on this committee right now, but I just wanted to make sure to make that comment on her behalf.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it's the only girl. I appreciate it. But right now, I'm the only one who has an alderperson name badge, so I'm hoping that the other alder people will be, so accommodated that they'll all get their own alderperson name badge. And again, I know Alderman Lencioni and Alderman Petrola already mentioned it, but even Mr. Chairman, I mean, that has to be changed too. I mean, that's probably part of our meeting, that could be included in that. That's not a small item, but yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. It will be little by little. It's going to take some time, and I know it's going to take some time to adjust to the change in language that we're all accustomed to, but we will get there, and we will make that effort to get there.
Any other comments or concerns? Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Paylighter, second by Bongard. Roll call, please.
Weber,
Yes.
Bala,
Yes.
Paylighter,
Yes.
Bongard,
Yes.
Bancroft,
Yes.
Lencioni, Petrola,
Yes.
Wirball,
Yes.
Besner.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. We have item 9B, update regarding Crystal Lofts, 214 South 13th Avenue / 1416 Indiana Avenue. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. We've been providing monthly updates to the P&D Committee on the status of code enforcement related to this property. The most recent update that we have to provide is that the contract purchaser who we have been communicating with has withdrawn from the project. So now we've been in discussions with the owner, and our understanding is that they're planning at this point to demolish the structure. They provided us with a copy of their demolition contract. As was noted previously, the Historic Preservation Commission has expressed an interest in seeing the building reused if possible. The building is not within the historic district, and it's not currently a landmark. There's also a letter that I believe the council received from Preservation Partners of the Fox Valley regarding the history of the structure. And we have representatives here this evening from the Historic Commission and Preservation Partners. In terms of next steps, the owner will need to apply for a demolition permit in order to proceed. I understand they intend to do so shortly, and we have representatives in attendance tonight who can speak to their intentions and the timeline. So I'd like to invite them up.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, we'll let you speak.
Hello. I'm representing a gentleman who has taken over control of the property, and as Russell mentioned, we intend we had sort of been involved over a little while, and it was hoping that we would be able to save the building, but it's irretrievable, and the plan is, and we have contracted with a company to demolish the building and to come in with a better plan for the facility.
Questions or comments? Yes.
Are the trucks going to be cleaned up and back immediately since the windows aren't needed anymore? Or
the answer to that is yes. So if you'll grant us just a little bit, we came in just recently to the project, so within probably the last 30 days. But we intend on getting the trucks need to be be removed. The windows will either be repurposed for what the building plan is there, whether it's homes or town, whatever we end up doing there. We have several different plans that we're looking at, but obviously the whole property needs to be completely cleaned up. And it's a shame. I mean, we were hoping that we could save the building, but it's just too costly. So we will get it cleaned up properly.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
And what's that timeline? What timeline are you expecting?
So one of the things we have to do, the LLC that'll be taking over the property needs to do the proper filings. Mm-hmm. So once we have the official control of the property, we have the deed of the property, but once this gentleman we put it into the LLC, then we'll be coming in along with Mr. Funk, who will be helping us to apply for the demolition and start to work with the appropriate people within the village to develop a plan for the property.
And then one of the last times I was out there, there was some holes, missing parts of a fence and some holes that you could get into the building. Do you know at this point if that's been sealed off? It just seems like it could be easy access for kids, anyone really.
Well, what I would say to that is that if as the new LLC takes control of the property, sure, it would be under the LLC's best interest to have that completely sealed off from an insurance perspective. So I would say during the kind of demolition that's going to take place there, we're going to need to make sure that it's sealed off properly. So if any holes or problems with the fence will be rectified, I know the village will be happy with that, but we're going to need to do that as an LLC for our own safety. Well, not our own safety, but for our own coverage.
Thank you.
Yes, Alderperson Weber.
Thank you. In regards to the fines that the current LLC has, how is that going to be addressed with the new LLC taking that old LLC over?
My understanding is that those fines would carry with the property because they are recorded against the property as a lien, so they will carry forward.
Thank you.
Alderman Bancroft. Alderperson Bancroft.
So if they carry with the property, then as a condition of issuing the building permit, do they get satisfied?
Yes. In order for the city to issue the building permit, we would either have to have the liens paid off or negotiate to have the liens reduced.
And I say building permit, I also meant demolition.
Yes.
Thank you for that question.
What is the amount? What is it up to?
I don't have the exact amount. It's in the thousands of dollars because it's a $700 per day fine.
Is it per day, $700 per day, and for
Yes.
90 days, so that's getting close up to 60,000.
Yes,
Okay.
it's in that range.
That's what I figured out before the meeting. Okay, thank you. Anybody want to speak on the Historical Commission? Give a name and address for the record, please.
Kim Allay, 26 South 16th Street, Chairperson of the Historic Commission. I would like to acknowledge that both Preservation Partners and members of our organization or our commission have worked to try and have a volunteer effort to save the building. But once we did discuss with Mr. Funk about the condition of the building, it was very obvious that it's beyond just a volunteer effort. The commission, although not happy, it realizes that at, most cases, this is going to wind up turning into a demolition. But we are kind of considering this a demolition by neglect because of the fact that it really, unfortunately, was left to weather poorly with it being open. So what the commission hopes is that at some point in time, maybe the council and the commission can work together to find a way to prevent this from happening again. This way we are not going almost 2 years with a building that is open to the public. And they are actually taking it on ourselves to do a survey of buildings that potentially could run into this situation down the road. So we will definitely be bringing that back to you hopefully later in the year. But we would really, like to see some cooperative effort to see if we can address that. But I do want to go ahead and acknowledge that Preservation Partners has been very supportive of this effort as well to save the building.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? So this was just for information only. So, okay, no action on this tonight. Any comments or questions from the committee? From staff? From the audience anywhere? Yes, want to come to the podium and give your name and address, please?
Al Watson with Preservation Partners of the Fox Valley. Our address for the business is 8 Indiana, St. Charles. I sent you all a letter briefly outlining what the history of the building is that we know of as at this point. So from a historical standpoint, there is some value from a historical significance standpoint for the building. Of course, I'm not a structural engineer, so I can't say what the structure of the building is, if it's really, about to fall down or anything like that. That's something that you guys have to figure out. My role here only is to educate and inform. So briefly, the building has historic significance from the cut glass factory that was there, and it also has a little bit of significance about the development of the neighborhood that's around it. We believe that there's probably some significance to that. And the other thing that's significant about it is the manufacturing history of St. Charles was very significant, particularly at the beginning of the 20th century, and there's very few of those buildings that are left in the city. So representatively, it's another reason for preserving the structure. And then finally, it's a sustainability issue. The bricks are there, the bones are there. Taking down the building is going to cost money. It's going to fill landfills. If there's some way that we can find to keep the building, then we can be a more sustainable community. And obviously, I can't say anything about the costs in one way or the other, but we are certainly willing to work with the property owners and the contractors to find other ways in which we can save money. There are state and federal benefits that are available if the building is landmarked, either locally and or federally. So, any questions?
Questions? Yes.
Yeah, I'm just curious, is there anything inside the building that is of historical nature that you can salvage, or is it empty, completely empty, like signage or anything like that, or?
I wouldn't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, the building is completely empty.
It's completely empty,
Yeah,
okay.
it is.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, Alderperson Paylight.
I'll defer to Alderman Petrillo on this, but I believe that there are artifacts from that factory at the museum of the cut glass and whatnot.
Yes, actually there's a bowl that's on display in the collection right now. And it was on display at the governor's mansion, I believe, 2 years ago. As part of the birthday of the state. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I would encourage you to work together, see if you can come up with anything. If you can't, okay, but I'd appreciate if you could try and see if there's something out there to help, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'd love to. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so no other comments or anything, so a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Lencioni, second by...
Executive session.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We moved that. Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation.
How about that motion? I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Lencioni, seconded
Second.
by Paylighter. Sorry.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Weber?
Yes.
Bala?
Yes.
Haylighter?
Yes.
Bongard?
Yes.
Bancroft?
Yes.
Lencioni?
Yes.
Petrola?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Besner?
Yes.
Thank you. We are now in executive session.